Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. As you guys know, the market has sold off significantly over the last 24 hours. This is providing a major opportunity for us to get back into the market, accumulate some of those altcoins that we've been watching, and hold to the end of the year as we rake in a ton of profit in the process. Many people are extremely worried that this is the beginning of the new bear market, and so I figured today would be a great opportunity to dive in, explain to you guys exactly why I don't think that this correction is anything to be fearful of, why this correction is actually an amazing opportunity to get back into new positions, and how the people that are buying inside of this dip are going to set themselves up to make a lot of financial fortune over the next couple months. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 21,000 members and growing. Links are provided for you in the description for the people that want to join my community. On top of that, if you're new, just getting into these markets and you want extra educational content to be more profitable, links are in the description for you guys to go ahead and download my free ebook and beginner's guide to crypto. So check it out, guys. Now, before we jump into the video, guys, remember that at the end of the month, I'm closing off the massive sale, over 50% off on the bundle for my video course, my signals, and my new beginner course. So if you guys have been watching this channel and you want to get into my group, you guys have until the end of the month before I close off that major sale. Biggest sale I'm ever going to do, and I look forward to seeing you guys inside of that group. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video today. Alrighty guys, so we're seeing a lot of panic inside of the market. Bitcoin had a big red candle that came in here on the daily, which, to be quite honest guys, is something I actually updated inside of my Discord server. Right over here. I updated DeFi, I updated Bitcoin, and I updated Ethereum. I even updated Chainlink, and I basically said that I was watching for a bigger size correction inside of the market. I expected DeFi to pull back pretty significantly along with Bitcoin. And so this is something that we're watching for already. I'm not really caught off guard by this, which if you guys even remember, over the last couple months, I've been updating for a massive correction once Bitcoin actually rallied up to the $48,000 level. And so this dip really shouldn't be catching you off guard. Yes, one of the big things that will happen inside of a market is you'll get two major shakeouts. And so I actually started buying in this dip right here. I accumulated a few different altcoins that I'd been watching. And one of the big things is after that first dip, everybody just kind of assumes that the market's going to keep going up. And so you'll get that first little lower high. And then when the market goes down one more time, most people aren't expecting it. And even though we haven't even made a lower low past this first one that we had in this sell-off, there's more fear inside of this current one than we even saw on that original one over here. This is something that's kind of silly when we always watch and see this happen. You know, the market will correct, people will freak out, everybody will call that the new bear market is starting, and this is merely just us retesting some of the previous highs as support. And so this is a thing, guys. We need to zoom out and we need to look at things from face value. So here's the big thing that I see a lot of people, a lot of really emotional people calling for is a big A, B, C. They think that the market's over, the bull market's done, we're going to crash and go to new lows. And I think that this is all just a bunch of silly talk. When regardless of all of the fear inside of the market, when we just stop and analyze the chart, one of the big things that I want you guys to come away with, let's actually drop it to a weekly so it's a little bit easier to see. Notice this right here. This resistance, right? This was our previous resistance here inside of this low in the bear market, right? This short-term bear cycle that we saw, this was the accumulation, and this is where everybody got real bearish. Everybody was calling for 20K, and that was actually our support. That was actually our support floor, right? Now, what happened after that is we got a breakout above that level, right? So this is our first higher high in the new bull trend. Whenever we have a massive resistance, every time we hit off of it, we reject lower. We bounced off of this exact level, you know, 3 or 4 different times before we actually sold all the way to 29,000. And so this was a time where everybody was expecting that the market was just going to drop and go down forever. That happened to be our cycle low, and then we ended up breaking above that. And so this entire move here, what I was explaining to you guys when we first started breaking out above this level was I was expecting Bitcoin to rally up to about 48,000, so right there, and then we would pull back, and then we would come back and retag this level, right? Well, we ended up going a little bit higher than what I originally thought we would. We ended up coming all the way up here to 53,000, but nonetheless, it still followed my trading plan. What I was watching for was after we rallied back up into this resistance up here, we were going to get a pullback, and we wanted to use that pullback as a way to get back into the market. And so when we first got this major red candle right here, this is where we started buying. And we never knew exactly where the exact low was going to be, but we knew that once the market started correcting from this resistance, it was going to be a good opportunity to get back in the market. And so we bought that first original panic. The market kind of bounced up, but it wasn't able to maintain that, and now we're getting our second shakeout in here. And so overall, guys, yes, we are getting a little bit of a more extended correction than I'm sure most people thought was going to happen, but nonetheless, it doesn't change anything because on the higher time frames, all this is a massive support and resistance flip. And this type of a move is once again just your classic ABC correction. After we get a big rally up, after we flip a major resistance point where prices have rejected, because look guys, we rejected off this level a number of different times throughout here, right? This is where we flipped it as support, rallied up into resistance, and now this is where we're going to get a higher time frame support and resistance flip. This is going to be the one that actually comes back down and retests on the bigger time frames. And so this should merely be an opportunity to get back into the market. Exactly what I was talking to you guys about over the last couple months. I said that we will see a major correction, and so there's no point in FOMO buying as the markets are going up into resistance. There will be an opportunity to buy the dip, and even if you guys leveraged all of your cash right into this first dip and it's going a little bit lower than you expected, when we stop and we look at a number of different altcoins out there, yes, they will go a little bit lower, but on the bigger picture time frames, and this also applies to the people that don't have any cash to actually buy any of these dips, on the higher time frames, we're seeing altcoins that are going to be preparing for a massive breakout past their all-time highs. And so no matter what, we're going to be seeing this market go into new all-time highs. That's a given, in my opinion. And something I wanted to keep you guys updated with is the Wall Street cheat sheet. Because in my opinion, this is simply one of the greatest things that you can possibly analyze when it comes to understanding your own emotional psychology inside of a market cycle. So right here we have the Wall Street cheat sheet, right? And so one of the big things I want you guys to remember is this disbelief phase, right? Now this happens on shorter time frames, it happens on bigger time frames. What we're in right now for Bitcoin is a short-term bearish cycle, but it's still following the same emotional psychology as what we see right here. The disbelief phase is the first impulse, the first higher high in the new bull trend where nobody thinks that it's actually going to be going up. Everybody's thinking it's one of these. After a massive run up, we get our first lower high, and then we go for a massive crash. That's what everybody that's really fearful right now thinks that Bitcoin's doing. They think this is a lower high and we're about to sell off into new lows right over here to here, right? That's not the case. Where we're actually at is this disbelief phase. It's the beginning of the new bull run, and it's the ending of the bear cycle, right? So this is where we make our bear cycle low, and this is our first higher high. This is a sucker's rally. It's the disbelief phase. Dumb money doesn't think that we're actually going to be going up higher. And this is actually where, if we were to draw a line right across the chart, this is where we break above it and then flip it as support. Exactly the same thing that Bitcoin's doing today. It's almost the exact same chart on a number of different ways. The top cycle is a little bit more of a rounded top compared to what we see here, but it's still the exact same thing. We can see the complacency and then the crash to capitulation, anger, and depression, these three lower lows. We can see all of that right here. Complacency, anger, capitulation, depression, right? It's all the same exact emotions that are repeated. And so what we're seeing right now is merely just this disbelief phase. This is a sucker's rally. It's the disbelief. This rally will fail like all others. And it's literally what gears us up for that next major break into new all-time highs. And so am I fearful by any of this stuff? No, I'm not. I could not be more bullish on the market. You guys already know where I'm targeting. And if we are inside of those time frames coming to the end of the year, there is simply no reason not to buy this dip, in my opinion, right? And of course, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I'm very confident in my analysis. My analysis has been spot on over the last few years. And if you guys watch this channel, you're going to know that from a cyclical perspective, Bitcoin has done nothing but follow this exact same 4-year cycle theory to a T. Almost exact. Every single cycle is almost the 100% exact. And we're seeing an opportunity to get back into the market before we go into new all-time highs, heading into this final blow-off top of the cycle. And so there's no reason to be fearful. We're literally flipping previous resistance as support. And so I do think that we're going to go a little bit lower here. Most likely we're going to come back down to, 40,000 approximately. It could go to 38. somewhere in that range. I don't care about $1,000 or $2,000 difference. The biggest thing is just the fact that you're getting in at such a big discount, because this is going to be a pretty big sell-off from what we saw up here at the top, about 27%, right? And so if you're not using this as an opportunity to get in, the best thing to do is just simply ignore what your portfolio says. Just step away, take a break from crypto for a little bit, and focus on something else. Because long term, we know that this thing's going to be going up into new all-time highs. This is merely just a flip off of this. This is merely just a flip off of this previous resistance as support. And then we're going to get some major parabolic impulses coming. And so I could not be more bullish. I'm using this as an opportunity to get back into the market. And I think that everybody else should be doing the exact same thing. It's following along to our trading plan. Yes, there's always going to be some variances in here. But nonetheless, guys, this is merely just a support and resistance flip on the bigger time frame. So don't stress about it. Now, if we come over here and take a look at the Bitcoin dominance, this is actually starting to uptrend exactly like I talked about over the last little while. Something I pointed out was this massive bullish divergence that we're actually seeing right here. We can see the RSI making a higher high, and we're seeing the Bitcoin dominance make a lower low. And so this is your classic example of bullish divergence. This is also somewhat of a rounded bottom formation in here. And so I do expect that this is most likely going to trend up for the short term as Bitcoin finishes its correction, as it shakes out altcoins. Any Bitcoin correction is usually always going to outperform the altcoins. But I don't believe that this is going to last long term. I think that we might rally upwards of about 44 to 45% dominance, but I do want to see this make a lower low. That's the big thing. Altcoins look bullish against their Bitcoin pairs, which makes me feel like this is going to be a short-term impulse before we do make a lower low. And if we do make a lower low, that's going to be taking us all the way to these all-time lows, which I would love to see support fail. If we could see that, expect the biggest altcoin season we've ever seen. I do believe that we're still going to get that biggest altcoin run by the end of the year. The markets just look primed for it. And so that's what I'm going to be watching out for. But do expect Bitcoin dominance to outperform in the short term as we finish up this correction. Now let's actually talk about what we're seeing on the crypto total market cap and then the altcoin total market cap so that you guys are best informed on what we're seeing as a whole. Now, as a whole, if we come out here and zoom out, what you guys are going to notice, in my opinion, these charts are even more easier to follow than just the Bitcoin chart is. Basically, look at this. So this was our resistance, right? The levels are even more symmetrical in a lot of ways. Resistance, 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 right? And then what did we do in this most recent move? Well, we broke past that level. We broke past that level without getting one retest of that level. This one came close, but this was just a wick. And in my opinion, this looks even more symmetrical like your standard ABC correction like we would normally see. And I do believe that we're going to be coming down and retesting this level here. And so guys, once again, this is just your classic example of a support and resistance flip. And we see our clear impulses right here, wave 1. Wave 3, you know, it's kind of hard to say. It could be here or it could be here. It doesn't necessarily matter. But either way, we see 5 impulses on the way up. And now this is our first ABC. And so this is simply wave 1 of this new bull trend, right? And look how parabolic it is. Might I add, we went from the lows of wave 4 all the way up pretty much to those all-time highs of wave 3. And now we're correcting, and this is only wave 1 of 5. We're going to get wave 3 of 5, which in my opinion is going to get insanely parabolic, really parabolic. If we're already seeing the signs of wave 1 being this big, taking us from the low of wave 4 all the way back to those previous all-time highs, this in my opinion reminds me a lot of what we saw here with Ethereum. Let's just look at the market cap. Well, that doesn't show all the way at the chart. Let's go over here and take a look at Ethereum because I think that this looks a lot alike of what we saw back in that last cycle. So remember here, guys, and this is actually something I drew not too long ago. A couple months ago, I drew this exact scenario playing out where basically we have this massive market crash. The whole market rallies back up to those previous all-time highs. We get one more pullback, and then this is what starts our final blow off top, right? It's pretty much followed exactly that. Now, I don't want to see us get quite as volatile just for the sake of how close we are running to the end of the year. But nonetheless, guys, in my opinion, this is pretty dang close to what we're seeing today. I mean, there's not too much of a difference here. There is some difference, but as a market whole, you know, this is pretty similar. It's eerie how similar it actually is. And so this is, in my opinion, what we're gearing up for. And, this obviously extends a little bit further than what my time frames show. But nonetheless, we're going to keep this updated. We're going to keep watching for what actually ends up happening. But this is merely just to map out, how symmetrical these actually are to what we saw in that last cycle. So where we're at right now is simply just us retesting that support. And I don't think that we're going to get quite as volatile. I simply just don't think that we're going to actually end up going below this level. If we do, it's just going to be a short-term wick below it. But nonetheless, this is kind of what I'm personally watching for. This just looks like our first impulse. Wave 3 is going to be coming in here, and Wave 3 is going to get pretty extended based off of just how big this first wave was. And if we come over here with Fibonacci, I'll share with you guys exactly what we have to hit for this to be a confirmed 3-wave. Come back down to here. So it has to go to at least 4 trillion, has to go to at least this 1.618 for it to be the same length. But oftentimes the 3-wave extends further. It can extend all the way up here to the 2.618, which would simply be double the size of the wave 1, which is generally what you're going to see. Wave 1 is the smallest wave. Sometimes wave 5 can be a little bit smaller depending on how much profit taking goes on. But wave 3 can never be smaller than wave 1. That's just invalid wave count. And so what we're going to see at least is Wave 3 come up here to the 1.618. What we will most likely see is Wave 3 coming up somewhere between the 2.618 and the midpoint of this 1.618, right? And we could see it even overextend higher than that. It's kind of hard to say exactly, but I would be seeing something along the lines of this, somewhere in between this range here. And so that would be, if we hit the 2.618, that's going to be $5.25 trillion, right? We'd have a 4-wave retrace, and then we're still going to get another impulse after that. And so, guys, this is the type of move that we're going to be expecting to see as we close out this bull cycle. There's nothing to be fearful of by this little tiny dip that's us merely just retesting previous resistance levels. Don't panic sell. Don't get so worried about it. If you are really worried about what's going on, take a break from crypto, close out of the charts, focus on your family, go fishing, do whatever you need to do to get your mind out of this negative slump. Because at the end of the day, if you're not buying the dip, and you're just staring at these charts, you're over trading, you're over analyzing, and this is going to cause you more emotional strain to where you end up doing something like this. Panic selling bottoms. Don't be that person. I've been that person. I've been that person even when staring at this chart, trying to analyze my emotions and feeling like a complete idiot after I've done it. It happens, guys. I know exactly the struggle of what these markets can bring. This cycle's been insanely volatile. Some of the biggest dips that we've ever seen inside of any bull run. But once again, guys, it's because we're dealing with a lot smarter of money in this cycle than any of the other ones. Remember in the last cycle where we had little tiny pullbacks and we just kept going higher and higher? It was the easiest cycle ever to trade. This cycle is a little bit different because we're playing with institutions that have been trading conventional markets for years and years and years. Don't underestimate the power of these shakeouts. And if you are somebody that's worried, take a break. None of this even matters on the bigger picture. Now, if we zoom out here to the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, aka the total altcoin market cap, this is pretty much following the exact same thing as the one before. What I have drawn here is our weekly support. So we had supply here. We made the impulse. We sold back below. This became resistance. And this was us flipping that. And in my opinion, we'll most likely end up falling back down to retest this green line. And so when we drop it to a daily, that's where I got this green box. But nonetheless, guys, it looks exactly the same as the last chart. This one could just go a little bit lower than the last one. Whereas I saw the last one holding support above that previous high. This one could kind of peak back below just slightly. But nonetheless, guys, the chart stays the same. Exact same impulses, exact same looking market cycles, right? It looks 100% the same. And really, guys, we've seen the same sort of symmetry. In fact, this one even went a little bit higher to that all-time high. And so this shakeout should be a buying opportunity, guys. And I can't stress enough how parabolic this entire cycle is about to be. And I think that it's pretty easy to tell based off of how big this one wave impulse off of the lows was. Remember, guys, on our bigger picture Elliott wave count, this is what it looks like. Down here was wave 1. We get March panic. This entire move up to 1.5 trillion was wave 3. That cycle low is wave 4, and we're getting ready for wave 5. And so when it comes to wave 5, you know, let's analyze the extension so that you guys have an idea on the market cap valuations for when we hit that. Let's assume that we go all the way down to 937 trillion inside of this dip. Wave 3 is going to have to take us to, let's hide these so it's easier to see. Let's hide these waves, right? So wave 3 is going to be having to take us, wave 1, wave 3 has to take us to at least, 2.315 trillion. So we could even extend it over to the 2618, which is going to be about $3 trillion. It's going to be hard to say exactly where we end up, but we have to go to at least $2.3 trillion for it to be the same size as wave 1. Generally speaking, as a rule of thumb, they're bigger than wave 1 inside of wave 3, because wave 3 is usually the biggest Elliott wave impulse, if not, wave 5. Sometimes wave 5 extends in crypto markets. It's nothing new. It's nothing unheard of. Commodities oftentimes have an overextension in the wave 5. And so this should only be more reason to be bullish, right? We'll end up somewhere in between the 2618. We'll pull back a little bit, and then we're still going to have another 5-wave impulse. And so it's hard to say exactly what valuation these altcoins end up hitting, but my guess is we could very easily see this anywhere between $4 and $5 trillion by the end of the year. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it extend higher than that, guys. I really wouldn't. At the end of the day, we can draw Fibonacci extensions, but we don't really know or have any idea where the price is going to end up. We can base it off of technicals. We know that it has to go to at least the 1618. But that really doesn't mean a whole lot, right? It's most likely going to extend higher than that to a point we can't really predict. And so, in my opinion, guys, the best thing to do is just take this video, understand that the technicals are very bullish, understand that the time frames are very, very bullish on a bigger picture, understand that when we take a time to just zoom in, this is us flipping previous resistance as support. I could not be more bullish. I could not be more confident in what we're seeing in the market. Do not panic sell. Do not worry about what some bearish guy is saying and calling for the double top scenario where crypto's doomed and is going to crash forever and this is the end of the bull cycle. Ignore these people because they don't know what they're talking about. It's oftentimes the most opinionated people that share the most bearish analysis are going to be the people that don't know what they're talking about at all. We have a big cycle impulse coming, and wave 1 off of the cycle lows was a clear indication of exactly that. If you're not buying the dip, you need to take a break from crypto. If you aren't willing to take a break from crypto, you're most likely going to cost yourself a lot of money. You got to be able to stomach these dips. We just had such a big rally off of the lows, and so if you didn't panic sell this dip into wave 4, you really shouldn't even be stressing about this, right? So anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. Wanted to give you guys this quick little update just as a way to clear up some of the FUD, clear up some of the emotions that are going to be caused by a massive sell-off like we're seeing. Remember, guys, bullish as always, targeting new all-time highs, Bitcoin at 250K by the end of the year. If you guys would like to join the Discord server, links are in the description. Download my free ebook, links are also in the description. Remember, guys, the biggest discount I'm ever doing on my video course Signals and beginner course is going now. Going to be good until the end of the month, so you got less than 2 weeks to get in there before I close that off permanently. You're going to have to pay full price for that. And if you guys want to see what I'm doing with my money at the end of the year, what levels I'm taking profit on, what signals I'm actually going to be taking over the next 3 months, and all of that fun stuff, a lot of money is going to be thrown into the stock market. A lot of money is going to be thrown into markets that I've never actually traded before. And so if you guys want to learn how to compound your gains aside from crypto, that's exactly what this channel is going to be focusing on in the bear market. And you guys are going to know my exact moves, my exact strategies, if you guys join the Discord server. So you can get in at a 50% discount. Links are in the description for you guys to go ahead and do so. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.